I want to talk to you about something that a lot of people have questions about, and that is how to calculate your long-term disability benefit. Long-term disability plans are not required to provide a certain benefit. It is all a matter of the contract. It is all a matter of what the policy or the plan document says. There's no minimum amount mandated by law. The law just requires the contract to be interpreted fairly and reasonably, and it will be enforced that way under the law. Some long-term disability plans pay for a set amount. You have a policy, you pay for a $5,000 a month benefit. You go through underwriting, the application is granted, you have a $5,000 a month benefit. Or maybe the benefit is $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month. Whatever you purchase or desire, that's the benefit that you can obtain. Now, that isn't the typical long-term disability benefit that's found in the workplace. The typical benefit that is found in the workplace and the most common policy provisions are what I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail. First of all, if you have a group long-term disability benefit, generally it's going to provide a percentage of your income if you meet the definition of disability. For example, workers' compensation laws provide a percentage of the amount that you were earning just before you were hurt in the workplace. A lot of times, for example, in Alabama, the benefit amount may be 67%. For a long-term disability plan, there's no mandate like there is under workers' comp to pay a certain percentage, but rather the percentage is fixed by the agreement. So you look for that amount. That amount may be 50%, it may be 60%, it could be 70%. Most commonly, it's 60%. But whatever your policy says is what is going to control. Now, what amount of your salary will that percentage calculate to? And so you are going to need to look at what the policy defines as your pre-disability earnings. Your pre-disability earnings are the amount of money that you are usually obtaining before you were sick or injured and unable to do your job. And so your pre-disability earnings may be defined over a 1-month time frame, a 2-week time frame, 6-month time frame, maybe a year. Whatever time is in the policy, you take that amount of time and calculate out, as specified in the policy, what your pre-disability earnings are, and then you will apply that benefit percentage to that amount. And sometimes there's not enough time. For example, if somebody just became eligible for long-term disability insurance on day 91 and the policy says take the prior year of earnings, and there's not a prior year, then you're going to be stuck with just averaging out your earnings over the time in front of that disability benefit date. You just take whatever time you actually worked in that situation. You also have to watch out for what is included in that definition of pre-disability earnings, because it won't include many times overtime, paid time off, vacation, a lot of these other forms of work. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it includes commissions that you may earn on top of the amount of money that you earn hourly. So it varies policy to policy, but typically you take the pre-disability earnings, you multiply that times the percentage, and then next you have to calculate or determine when you actually start getting that benefit. Your start date is going to be at the end of what is called the elimination period. That's a term that is defined in most policies, and that can vary. A lot of policies have an elimination period of 30 days, some 90 days, some 180 days. The elimination period is the time frame during which you must be disabled and remain disabled under the definition in the policy or plan. And then after that time period passes, then you begin getting your benefit. Some people are shocked to find out that they have a 180-day elimination time period, which means they have to go about 6 months with no pay before this long-term disability benefit may start paying. You better have some savings if you have that kind of policy, because that's a long time to go without money. And then after you determine the start date, you can calculate what you're supposed to receive each month. Most long-term disability plans pay every month. They don't have to. They could pay every 2 weeks or twice a month, but most of them pay every month according to the policies. Then you also need to calculate the end date. When will it stop? If I prove I'm disabled continuously and I never get better, when will it stop? Some policies will pay just for maybe 5 years. The majority of policies, however, pay until you are of retirement age. That might be age 65, or it may say until your Social Security normal retirement age. And that varies. That means you have to go to the Social Security website. They have a nice little page that says normal retirement age, and for those that are born 1960 or later, that is age 67. People born before 1960, it varies, going all the way back until about 1937 and before. If you were born 1937 and before, you're well retired at this point in time, but your retirement age then was 65, and then they started ratcheting it up in 1938 going forward until we hit age 67, and that's where it is for everybody from 1960 birthday on. After you get the future benefits and the date that you should start getting benefits after your elimination period, you then know the total number of months that will be at stake. So then you look at that, and maybe there's a partial month in there. Almost every time there's going to be a partial month. And so if there's a partial month, you look at how that is paid in the policy. Most policies just take 30-day average month and then look at how many days are in that partial month and then calculate the benefit prorated based on that 30-day average. So after you have all of that calculation, now you know the maximum value of your long-term disability claim, except you can't expect to get that future money now. If you ask for future long-term disability benefits and the insurance company voluntarily will pay you your future benefits, they don't have to and you can't make them, but if they voluntarily agree to do that, then they will reduce it to present value. That's a reverse interest rate because you're getting future money today. And of course their argument is you could invest that and then you would be getting more by getting the money now. And so we're not going to do that. And then they also may discount it by mortality rates. Getting into future benefit calculations can be very complicated, and we'll handle that at another time. That is how you calculate your long-term disability